Fox 13 following breaking news at midday. Ezekiel Kelly pleads guilty in the 2022 deadly shooting rampage across Memphis. We are live with reaction from the courtroom. And a controversial ICE detention center is coming to West Tennessee. We'll tell you about the confusion surrounding the vote. And you've heard it before. We have another hot and humid day in store. Parts of the Mid-South even under a heat advisory, but some places may see some rain. Fox 13 meteorologist Brittany DeBose tracking out your forecast next. Fox 13 News Midday starts right now. Of course, our top story at midday. Ezekiel Kelly has pled guilty to all charges stemming from the 2022 shooting spree across Memphis. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Sheila O'Connor in for Dominique Dillon. Now that court hearing just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. Fox 13 cameras were rolling inside that courtroom as Kelly faced a judge. He will now serve 3 consecutive life sentences without a possibility of parole, plus an additional 221 years. Fox 13's Jeremy Pierre was inside that courtroom. He joins us now live. Jeremy, take us into that courtroom with you. I mean, we know victims' families were in there. What was their reaction as all of this unfolded?
Well, look, a lot of them feeling closure right now because the outcome that they wanted. Now, understanding that Ezekiel Kelly, a 23-year-old man, will now spend the rest of his life in a state prison. Understanding that Ezekiel Kelly, he pleaded guilty to 28 counts, and those 28 counts come with 3 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole, as well as an additional 221 years. Again, that means Ezekiel Kelly will spend the rest of his life in jail. Now, in this hearing, we heard those counts read out by Judge James Jones. We also got a chance to hear from Ezekiel Kelly himself, but that came after we heard victim impact. We actually heard from the brother-in-law of one of the victims, Aubrey Miller, and he went very, very detailed as to what he is expecting Ezekiel Kelly to do while serving time in prison and how this has affected him. Take a listen.
But I do know this. I'm just requesting him, no matter where they send you to your grave or to hell, God knows you, but the devil sentences you. And when you know that he sentenced you, all I can tell you, one day just look in the mirror, take a look at yourself and say, what have you done? You've been convicted of all these things, but I will tell you one thing. Your name is Ezekiel. It's come from a word in the Bible, fairness. But you can't see yourself. You have lost yourself. Only way you can find yourself is through God.
Now, according to Ezekiel Kelly's attorney, Michael Scholl, they have been working on this plea deal for quite some time. He went into detail as to what was the holdup with making this come earlier. He said the biggest part of this plea deal had to be, or this deal had to deal with the death penalty. And we even asked Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, who ran against, when he became the district attorney for Shelby County, he had a stance against the death penalty, how he felt any differently about having this become a death penalty case, and understanding that was the most difficult part of coming to a plea deal in this entire court proceeding with Ezekiel Kelly, both the defendant as well as the prosecutors.
Jeremy, real quickly, too, you mentioned Kelly even took the stand himself. The burning question a lot of people know, I'm sure the family of the victims want to know, why did all of this happen? Did he give any insight when he was on the stand why he did this?
Well, we heard Ezekiel Kelly say on the stand at the point in time in 2022 when this all took place, he was in a dark place. What that dark place actually happened to be, he didn't go into detail, but we did ask his attorney about the process. You know, when we first saw Ezekiel Kelly, that first mugshot, when he got booked into 201, we saw a smile on his face, almost evilish. But then we started to see a process throughout these court proceedings of a more humble, a more sincere, a more forgiving, wanting to be forgiven, Ezekiel Kelly. And you know what? He did ask the judge on the stand for forgiveness, as well as these families of these victims.
And hopefully this is closure for the family of these 3 victims. 3 people were killed in this. So hopefully this gives them the closure that they need. Jeremy Pierre, thanks so much. Now, like we mentioned, for the first time since this deadly shooting happened, we heard at length from Ezekiel Kelly. At one point while he was on the stand, Kelly actually broke down in tears. You see that here as he asked the families of the victims to forgive him.
I didn't want it to happen like this. For a thing to change my life, something to change my life, like this, for me to change. I didn't see no light the way I was heading. The way I was living, I wasn't living in the righteous path. And I also do give an apology, but I know this is not enough. It's not enough for the victim family. I hope one day in y'all life, y'all come to the point where y'all find in y'all heart to forgive me.
Now, in about 15 minutes, we will hear from Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, who will talk about this change of plea and how the family of the victims feel about this decision. So make sure you stick with us. All right, let's take a live